All right, I am going to call this meeting to order. I am Adam Hawk, District 5. We have all council members present, as well as Mayor Brett Hales and others up here. We're going to start off with our Pledge of Allegiance that Lori Edmonds is going to give us.
Will everyone please stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first matter of business is approval of minutes for November 12th, 2024. Do I have any corrections, additions, changes?
I didn't have any.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the council meeting minutes for November 12th, 2024. I second it.
So I have a motion from Councilmember Turner and a second from Councilmember Cotter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All right, then we'll move on to our special recognition, which is a recognition of Station 81 crew and Rick Johannesson with Travis Botcher presenting.
Good evening, Mayor Hales and council members. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight to present this life-saving award. Now I have a history of getting a little bit emotional during these awards, so I thought I'd lighten the mood by starting out with a firefighter joke. So here it goes. How do you know someone is a firefighter? Just wait a minute, they'll tell you. So this joke resonates because firefighters are proud of what they do. Whether on or off duty, we carry the knowledge, skills, and composure to act decisively in emergencies. The pride comes from knowing that we can make a difference, whether it is saving a life or improving a critical situation. Tonight we honor that spirit of service and excellence. To fully appreciate the incredible efforts behind tonight's award, I'd like to take a moment to talk about the heart, cardiac emergencies, and the tools that we use to save lives. I brought a few props with me to help explain what happened during this cardiac arrest and heart attacks, as well as how AEDs and 12 leads come into play. So to start, I have a heart model that I brought with me. So at the top of our heart, we have two atrias, and at the bottom, we have two ventricles. Those ventricles are responsible for, especially the left, for pumping blood throughout our entire body. And then as you can see, we have arteries that kind of go across our heart, and those will come into play as well. Those provide blood to the heart, which gives our heart oxygen. So in the movies, you often see people shocking a flat line, also known as asystole, with a defibrillator. Unfortunately, this is just not accurate. We only use a defibrillator for two life-threatening rhythms in cardiac arrest. That is VFib and VTAC. For this case, I want to focus on VFib as well as heart attacks. In VFib, this is when the heart's electrical activity becomes chaotic, causing the ventricles to quiver, so those ventricles at the bottom of the heart just kind of moving, and not delivering or pumping any blood. The body is deprived of oxygen, and without immediate intervention, the rhythm is fatal. AEDs are designed to analyze the rhythm and deliver a shock to restore normal function in cases like VFib. Defibrillation is key to saving a life in this scenario. So this is one of the AEDs that we have here, one that was also used, very similar to the one that was also used in this case. In heart attacks, also known as STEMIs, these occur when one of those arteries that we talked about kind of coming across the heart is not supplying blood to the heart and becomes blocked, reducing oxygen flow and damaging heart tissue over time. A STEMI can lead to cardiac arrest if not treated quickly. So in addition to our AED, I also have our Zoll monitor here. And this Zoll monitor is what our crews use. And you can kind of see, I have all the leads out. These are leads that we have, so there are 10 leads here, but it takes actually 12 images. Oh, sorry. It takes 12 images of the heart. And we're able to take these images and take a detailed look at your heart and the electrical activity. So this enables us to detect a STEMI, at which we transmit that information directly to the hospital, activating the cath lab to restore blood flow. This process is critical because in heart attacks, every minute of delay increases the damage to the heart tissues and reduces the chance of recovery. Understanding these conditions highlights the incredible efforts made in tonight's case, where both VFib and heart attack played a role in saving a life. So if I can have Rick come up, as well as 81C Platoon's crew, while I kind of talk about the case. And I think we have everybody. We're missing one crew member. He wasn't able to make it tonight. So I'm going to talk about Randy and his crew, but yeah, you just stand. Yeah, just stand with those guys. So tonight's case is a powerful example of how training, quick action, and teamwork can save a life. Rick, an off-duty firefighter with Northview Fire Department and a 20-year veteran of the fire service, was shopping at a local hardware store when he heard a commotion nearby. He was initially told that someone was having a seizure, but quickly realized the situation was far more critical. The person had gone into cardiac arrest. Without hesitation, Rick jumped into action. Using the AED from the business, Rick delivered 2 defibrillations and performed high-quality CPR continuously for 6 minutes until the crew arrived, led by Randy. For those unfamiliar with CPR, performing compressions for even 2 minutes is physically demanding. The fact that Rick was able to sustain effective compressions for 6 minutes is truly remarkable. When the crew arrived, Rick was finishing his last round of CPR, which successfully restored the patient's pulse. Randy and his team, Cam, Elias, Mitch, and Sam, took over. They stabilized the patient, performed a 12-lead EKG. The results confirmed that the patient was having a heart attack. They immediately transmitted this critical information over to the receiving hospital, which activated the cath lab team. This rapid chain of events ensured that the blocked artery could be addressed immediately upon arrival at the hospital, minimizing heart tissue damage and maximizing the patient's chances of survival. I have no doubt this patient was able to walk out of the hospital thanks to the combined efforts of Rick, Randy, Cam, Elias, Mitch, and Sam. Chief Middleman, if you'll help me present the awards.
No, it's okay. It's already on. So one of the things that I want to point out that Travis has left out is actually all 4, and then plus also firefighter Johansson is all off duty. But our guys actually came in, and I want to point this out, Rick. We really appreciate what you did and what you do as a career, and I think these guys honor you as a testament of that. So as I hand this back over to Trav, start with Rick.
So we have Rick Johansson,
Thank you so much. Yep.
Awesome, thank you.
Elias McCann. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no,
We
I
can-
should have put them in order. The way you guys stood,
was-
I had no idea.
So we have Elias McCann.
Thanks, brother.
And Elias is one of our probationary firefighters. This is like one of his first 100 calls that, doesn't happen that often. So, and then we have Cam Wilden, paramedic Mitch McClure, paramedic Sam Pasqua.
Council, thanks again for letting us present that in your council meeting.
Council, any comments? Go for it.
I just want to thank you all for being in the right place at the right time and being such a wonderful part of Murray. So thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
And thank you for that explanation. I really appreciated that. It was great.
I'll just say, I feel like thank you is inadequate for the work you do and but thank you, and we are proud of the work that all of our firefighters do here in the city.
Yes.
All our first responders.
All our first responders, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then we will move on to the citizen comments portion of our meeting. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Step to the microphone here. State your name and city of residence and fill out the required form that Patty has there.
Hello, my name is Sonia Jensen, and I live at 4435 South Fairborn Avenue. I've come here before regarding the apartments across the street from my house, 4460 Fairborn Avenue. The property owners are Highland Partners. Their office address is 2855 Washington Boulevard, Ogden, Utah, and their phone number is 801-896-9844. The last time I came here was regarding the apartments. The police were there on July 26th at 6:30 a.m. with their AR-15s drawn, and then again on July 28th when approximately 30 officers from different precincts were there, and then the SWAT team showed up and several people were arrested. Now, and I'm not even including the other calls that have come in between then and November, but on Thursday, November 21st at 8:12, there was a gunshot that came across, or that came from those apartments. Then about 2 to 3 seconds later, there was another gunshot. There was a vehicle that left, and then a woman ran over and started to wail until the police arrived a few minutes later. I've worked on the ambulance and in the ER, and I have never heard that kind of screaming before, and I know I will never forget it. The person who was shot in the head and killed. There are children that live within 50 to 75 feet from where it happened. They could have been out there. My security cameras did catch everything, and I did give it to the police. The next day, there was a bunch of people, approximately 8 to 10, that started to gather where the shooting happened. A girl showed up. They did not want her there, so they started to go after her, and I felt like she was in trouble. I called 911, but she was able to get in her vehicle and get away. As the police were on the way, I had to call 911 again because the same individual started to beat up another person. The police have been over there in the last 6 months more times than I can count. They have arrested a number of people. Each time I hear sirens, I wonder if they're going over to those apartments, and half the time they are. Me and my neighbors no longer use our front yard. We don't even do yard work. They have small children, and they no longer allow them to go outside and play with their friends. They have to stay in the house. When I take the garbage out, I take my dogs with me. Things keep escalating. The only thing now that I can think of that is going to escalate to is the people that helped the police out are targeted and possibly shot and killed. One of those people is me. This is now my reality. Will my son be going to my funeral? Will one of my neighbors be shot and killed, or possibly one of their children? The children that go to the bus stop in the morning across from my house, all the parents walk them there, and they get there before the bus comes to drop them off, hoping to keep them safe. When is all this crime going to stop over there? When is something going to be done? And when are the property owners going to be held accountable? None of us on the street should have to live like this, and I'm starting to feel like I'm living in a war zone.
As you come up, I'd just like to remind everybody, we'll have a public hearing on short-term rentals and others, so if you have your comments related to that, there will be a public hearing on that later.
Good. Mayor, council members, and residents of Murray, my name is Scott Hansen. I've been a resident of Murray City for over 30 years. Even when I moved back east, I kept my paid my taxes in Murray. I wanted to speak tonight just a little bit about business items 5 and 6 that'll be addressed by Mr. Ballin later on. I've worked in the energy industry for 38 and a half years and worked for a major corporation. In fact, they located me back on the East Coast at the headquarters. And that organization focused and was a leader in power generation. They did nuclear, they did wind, they did solar, offshore wind, coal, oil, gas, and all those different items. We were involved with peaking storage as well as base load storage, power generation back there. And I just wanted to share tonight that based on my experience, and I interviewed, let me just provide a little background. I was the director over risk management and writing the reports for the board of directors. And the corporation operated power in 26 of the 50 states. And they interviewed the president and CEO of the company as well as general counsel. I don't tell you that because I want to be neat or anything like that. I just want you to understand my background. So with that as background, I just wanted to share with you that I am as green-minded as anybody in this room. I truly am. But the technology is not there to go 100% green. Murray City just can't do it. I asked the question specifically, well, can't we take a bank of lithium-ion batteries and fill Richmond, Virginia with these batteries? That's where I lived. And wouldn't that support green energy, wind and solar? And they said, Scott, it would last about 30 minutes after the sun went down or the wind quit blowing, and then it's flat. It's down. The technology is not there. So the comment I was going to make tonight is I'm absolutely in support of what UAMPS is doing. I like natural gas. Of the hydrocarbon, I like nuclear too, but then you deal with the spent fuel rods and other items. I like coal, but I know the issues of, yes, thank you. I know the issues associated with the coal, the fly ash, and different things. I'm telling you that natural gas is a natural fit, low emissions or whatever, for supporting peak power generation and baseload power. With that, I'll let Greg support the rest of it out there. I've met with him several times. I have a high degree of confidence in him. He's a very knowledgeable man. Thank you for your time.
My name is Delenn Barney. I've been a resident of Murray City for many years. My concern tonight is parking in the city, parking especially close to where I live. Recently, there have been a couple of vehicles that have parked directly in front of my neighbor's driveway, one of which I called the police on, and they said, oh, we can't give it a ticket because it belongs to an LLC, which kind of struck me as odd that LLCs are immune from parking tickets. The same business that is there parks up and down that street and on another street and allowing for only one way of traffic. It concerns me that with that it creates a safety hazard for the emergency medical personnel to go up and down the street and get to where they need to get to. And now with one of the business items tonight for additional, what do they call it, I think it was item number, anyway, people living in somebody else's house, staying with them. When will Murray City take a relook at the parking ordinances to find out how many people need to, how many parking spaces a particular business needs to have to, so they don't have to park on this street, so they don't create a safety hazard. And cause problems with local residents. There's local, West Valley City recently adopted an ordinance prohibiting people from parking within 5 feet of a person's driveway. I've seen people park their vehicles in the same neighborhood that I live in, right next to the person's driveway, where if they just to back out, they couldn't see where people were, if they were coming down the street, which creates a safety hazard. When this particular business went into business, I don't know that the city looked at how many parking spots they needed to have compared to what was there before. That's my biggest concern, is parking within the city. The other thing I'd like to do is congratulate Travis and station number 81 for the work that they did, even though he was off duty. I can say from a personal experience that because of an auto accident many years ago, my life was preserved because of the effort of emergency medical personnel to take care of me and help me until I was able to be live flighted from southern Utah to Salt Lake. So again, I thank you for them, for their knowledge, skills, and ability, and taking the effort and the initiative to put that training into effect. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to close the citizen comments portion of our meeting, and we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have Mayor Hales presenting the confirmation of 4 individuals. Today, Aaron Hildreth to the Planning Commission for a term of January 2025 through January 2028. Tracy Black to the Arts Advisory Board for a term of from January 2025 through January 2028. Blair Lyon to the Arts Advisory Board for a term beginning in January 2025 through January 2027, and Pace Gardner to the Arts Advisory Board for a term beginning January 2025 through January 2027. Mayor Hales.
Thank you. And you're going to take them all together, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And with you reading those, I won't read those, but I'll ask those that are here to stand. Aaron, would you please stand? Aaron, again, with our Planning and Zoning Commission. And then Tracy with our Arts Advisory Board, and Blair Lyon, are you here? Okay, it's a reappointment there, and then Pace Gardner. Okay, all right, so without further ado, thank you very much, we appreciate it, and we had great interviews with these folks, and they're amazing, they're well qualified, and some might even be overqualified, but we're excited to have them on board. You've seen their resumes, and so we ask that you confirm these 4 individuals, and we'll turn that back to the council.
Do I have any questions from the council?
Mm-mm.
All right, then I will take the consent agenda as one altogether.
I
move to approve the confirmation of the mayor's appointment of Aaron Hildreth to Planning Commission for a term beginning January 2025 through January 28th. The mayor's appointment of Tracy Black to the Arts Advisory Board for a term beginning January 2025 through January 28th. The mayor's reappointment of Blair Lyon to the Arts Advisory Board for a term beginning January 2025 through January 2027. The mayor's reappointment of Pace Gardner to the Arts Advisory Board for a term beginning January 2025 through January 2027.
I second that.
I have a motion from Councilmember Cotter and a second by Councilmember Dominguez. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Mingus?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you all for your willingness to serve. We really appreciate it. You're awesome, so thanks.
Okay, we will move on to the public hearing portion of our meeting now. We'll first off consider a resolution approving the 2024 Murray City Water Conservation Plan. I have Aaron Frisk and Andrew McKinnon presenting.
Well, hello. Well, we did have a very long discussion during the Committee of the Whole about the Water Conservation Plan, and what?
My mic wasn't on. Is
It's
yours
hard
on?
to hear.
Is it?
We can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear? How
Yeah.
about now?
Put it closer.
Okay. All right, so we had a very lengthy discussion during the Committee of the Whole about the Water Conservation Plan, and I was wondering if anybody had any questions at this time.
You explained it very well, so I understand it.
Andrew did the best.
As much as a layperson can understand it.
I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to do and the
Awesome.
changes that will be coming.
appreciate it, and,
I really appreciate it.
The conservation plan will be available online or at our Public Works facility too.
Perfect.
And let me just express appreciation to the residents who have been doing their fair share in saving water.
Absolutely.
It's been wonderful to see that kind of drop off and kind of hold steady, and it gives us a good base to start on for our future water conservation plan.
Yes. Yeah, it was all them. It was all water use. Public's using their water less since 2021, so they did a great job. So I guess now, ask you to approve the 2024 water conservation plan.
Thank you, Aaron. Then this is a public hearing, so I will open it up for public comment. So you have 3 minutes. You can step to the microphone, state your city, and name residents, and fill out the form that Patty has. Seeing there are no comments, I will close the public hearing. Council, do you have questions or anything you want to discuss about this?
No,
Okay.
it was thoroughly discussed this
All right.
afternoon.
Then I will entertain a motion.
All right, I will make a motion to adopt the resolution approving the 2024 Murray City Water Conservation Plan.
I will second that.
I have a motion from Councilmember Turner and a second from Councilmember Dominguez. Brooke, will you call the roll?
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cutter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. So the vote is 5-0. We will then move on to consider the second agenda item, which is to consider an ordinance enacting section 17.76.190 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to residential short-term rentals and amending section 17.76.020 and 17.84.060 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to the determination of permitted and conditional uses. Zachary Smallwood presenting.
Hello, nice to see you all again. Let me just get this a little set up. Okay, thank you guys so much for allowing me to present this evening. We are here to talk about short-term rentals. So why address short-term rentals now? This was a report drafted in October of 2024 by the Kem C. Gardner Policy Institute that shows the share of housing units along the Wasatch Front being used as a percentage of short-term rentals. You can see kind of between 2022 to 2023 is increased quite a bit. This is all based on census tract data. This is along the entire Wasatch Front. I tried to move the slide forward. Tried to zoom in to Murray as best I could. It was really hard to see in a small map, but that's pretty much encompasses Murray and Sandy in that area. You can see quite a big increase there. Earlier this year, I believe in June, there was an application for a business license for a short-term rental. When looking through the zoning ordinance, we didn't have anything specifically outlawing it, meaning there was a loophole in our code. Then GL, the city attorney, came forward and proposed a moratorium on short-term rentals while we figured this out. As the council knows, we've had various workshops and things to discuss policy guidance, and so now we're here actually working on it. So, short-term rentals in Murray. So currently the policy has been not to allow the short-term rentals. As I mentioned, a loophole was found and that moratorium expires in January of 2025. There were also issues with the transient room tax where, that's assessed in short-term rentals, hotels, things like that. And then I believe it's all lumped together and then sent over to the city as one lump sum. So we don't have a way of picking and choosing what transient room tax to take. Also, it was very difficult for the CED department to enforce our prohibition on short-term rentals. It was something that hadn't been, everything was really vague. And then there's state law that's included that we weren't allowed to use certain items in that same enforcement. So, as I mentioned in a previous workshop, we have purchased a software that shows us how many. I'm working on implementing that right now, but they do send me a monthly report that they've sent me for 2 months now, which is that item on your right. 180 for November were active listings. So 180 properties, I should say, not just listings. So various different things. So ordinance objectives. So what we're trying to accomplish here is ensure rentals operate responsibly, minimize disruption to neighborhoods, protect housing availability, and create a framework for fair enforcement. So, balancing the neighborhood and income opportunity for people that might need to supplement their income with some short-term rentals. So with that said, I'll go over what the ordinance it looks like now. So there are 3 types of short-term rentals that the city's identified. There's hosted sharing. That means that the person that owns the property stays on the property while they rent out that a portion of their dwelling, a bedroom, whatever. There's unhosted sharing. A lot of people would know this term by like ski birds, snowbirds. One of the things, ski birds, birds ski all the time. And so that means the owner leaves the property and then rents out their home, and guests stay while they're, living it up in Phoenix or whatever for the winter. And then you have dedication vacation rentals, which are when a person or corporation purchases the dwelling and then never intends to live at the property but rents it out as a vacation rental. So this proposed code would not allow for unhosted sharing or dedicated vacation rentals in the city of Murray. We are working towards a more strict policy going forward, and then looking at it in the future. After about a year, we'll come back and present to you and kind of give you some feedback on where we've been, how the enforcement's been going, et cetera. But right now, all we're proposing is hosted sharing, which means the owner is present during the guest stay. So parking requirements, I believe Mr. Barney had mentioned parking. So this is appropriate here. So each single-family dwelling is required to have 2 parking spaces per house. So in addition, when wanting to operate a short-term rental, they would be required to have a half space per bedroom or sleeping area with a required 1 extra space. So you can see here on this diagram, a 2-bedroom hosted sharing unit renting 1 room would still be required to have 3, but a 4-bedroom, that says unhosted, that wouldn't be allowed. I apologize, this is an old slide. 4-bedroom, they would be hosted sharing unit. Renting 4 rooms, it would be 2 additional parking spaces, a half each. So a total of 4. Enforcement, so each day of operations constitutes a separate offense if they're found operating without a license or without a land use permit. Would be a Class C misdemeanor with fines between $110 to $1,000, and then potential revocation of the land use permit. If we do revoke a land use permit, the first one, it prohibits them from operating a short-term rental for a year. If they have a second within a 5-year period, results in a 5-year ban from the date of the second violation. So how this helps. So it maintains integrity of neighborhoods by ensuring that the property owner is on site while this is going, and encourages responsible hosting. What it does for the city is provides clear direction and allows us to enforce illegal operations of short-term rentals with more objective criteria. So with the findings listed on your screen here, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 17th and voted 4-3 to forward a positive recommendation. So with that, the staff and Planning Commission recommend that the City Council adopt the ordinance. And I actually changed something on this slide, and it reads exactly how the ordinance reads. So if you need to read it, you can read it right from the slide. So it's changed from what I used to do. So happy to answer any questions you guys have. And that's it.
Looks like we're
I'm gonna
good.
go sit down.
Councilmember Carter, do you have anything?
Is this public?
Yeah, we're going to open it up in a second. Okay, thanks, Zach.
Thanks.
All right, this is a public hearing, so I'll open it up for public comment. Comments, again, will be limited to 3 minutes. Come to the microphone, state your city and name of residence, and fill out the paperwork that Patty has.
Hi, how y'all doing today? My name is Joe Christensen. I live in West Murray, close to Bullion Street. My wife and I, business partner, we have a number of rentals, both short and long term. And just looking at the proposed ordinance change, we do want to make one additional recommendation be added to this. And this is based on our experience of seeing short-term rentals used both in Murray, but also in other communities as well. Relating to the bedroom allowance based on bedrooms to parking, what we've noticed is that when people start receiving different restrictions, they try and pack as many people into a property as possible. So a 2-bedroom apartment, you might see a landlord or the person managing the property, they might try and have 8 beds in 2 bedrooms. You might see them post it for 12 people to actually stay on the site. With this proposal, what our recommendation would be based on what our experience has been is that you should add a condition that every bedroom that exists in the property, there can be 2 guests plus 2. So if it's a 4-bedroom property, they could have a total of 8 guests plus 2, 10. If it's a 2-bedroom property, 4 guests plus 2, a total of 6. Once you start allowing short-term rental property managers to include more than that kind of allowance in their property, you are going to end up, 1, again, with a lot of beds, but then 2, the type of people are showing up. If you have someone show up in a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom with 12, 14, 16 guests, even if they maintain that parking requirement, which they're not likely to do, they're going to actually show up with a lot of groups, singles showing up to party, multiple families or young adults showing up to party, and it really impacts the neighborhood and the community around it. So the ordinance, it's nice to see that the city's actually looking at this. Again, we just want to make one additional suggestion to the proposal, which is add a bedroom condition for guests, which is for every bedroom, they can have 2 occupants with an addition of 2. Hey, thanks a bunch.
Okay, seeing no other comments, I will close the public hearing portion and give it to council for any questions or comments.
Zach, apartments can't be short-term rentals, correct?
I believe that is correct.
Because of HOAs or
Yeah,
whatever there are?
so I believe we've limited it to only the single-family zones.
Okay.
I'm 97% sure of that. But yeah, I believe we've only allowed it for the single-family homes. Additionally, I think that is a great point, and I think I've written it down so that I can remember it. I think it would be more applicable if we were allowing unhosted or dedicated vacation rentals. At this time, I don't think it necessarily needs to be added, but I'll keep it in my record so that, when we start to look at this next year, when I come with an update, we can either update the code with any reflection of change to see kind of how it goes. But I think I think that was a great idea. it's something that I'd probably want to look at a little bit more in depth.
And we have to do something because something may be coming down from Capitol Hill, correct?
Yeah, we have been hearing rumblings that the state legislature might be looking at short-term rentals in the next legislative session.
Because they want these houses to be opened up to be bought or whatever.
Correct, yeah. They also recognize the housing affordability issues across the state. And that map that I showed earlier on in the presentation was actually commissioned for the legislature. That report was commissioned for the legislature to help them make some decisions regarding short-term rentals.
And this is going to help with the future, whatever
Correct.
the people up on the Hill will do.
Yeah, I think this will help us have a good seat at the table when the legislature starts to have this conversation. We'll be able to work with CAM at the league, and while they start to craft some legislation, I think that'll put us in a good position for that. And yeah, I think.
And there is a parking issue because people that live in cul-de-sacs, there's a short-term rental, and then they can't pull out of their driveway because there's many cars, and snow plows will come in, and they can't see pulling out of their driveway, or they can't see pulling out of their cul-de-sac because of there's so many cars. I mean, you could have a family of 10 people, and each of them bring a car each. You're looking at 10 cars.
Yeah, that could be a possibility, but we would hope, especially with how regulated these will be, the host will be on site, so should be able to accommodate that. And then that would also allow us the opportunity, when we do accept an application, that we would be able to contact that person and say, hey, we're getting complaints of parking over here, we need to work on stuff.
And they will have to follow all rules and regulations as a business?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they would have to follow all those rules and regulations.
And fire codes?
Fire codes, building codes, all that
Okay.
fun stuff. Yep. Also, one thing I wanted to mention as well is, and I apologize, I don't remember his name. I'm terrible with names. The person that made the comment, the software that we're using does scan all, I think 70 some odd short-term rental sites, and will actually provide us the listing. So that will tell us how many rooms they're saying, or how many people they say they're listing. So we can actually use that and say, hey, you're saying you can fit 20 people in here. It's a 2-bedroom house. You can't do that. And that'll be part of our application process.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. We have discussed this for months now.
Yeah.
We have worked on this, and so hopefully we've come up with the best that we can at this point.
Correct.
So we're going to live with it for a year and see how it works out, or even, sooner if we have to. So that's kind of the plan.
Yes.
Right?
Yep,
So
that is the plan.
It will be revisited in a year.
Yep, it'll be my Christmas present next year. So
Yay for you.
we'll talk about short-term rentals.
And you may have new reps up here, or new council
Exactly.
members up here.
Yeah,
so.
we might. Yeah, we might. But yeah, this is definitely a first step. This is not something that's written in stone and can never be changed. This is just to get us on the books, and then we can deal with it as things arise.
We could even be more restrictive, although I don't know how, but.
Yeah.
It's pretty strict. Can you talk to us a little bit about what happens with existing short-term rentals that are out there, and are they going to be subjected to the rules,
So
to the new code?
based on legal counsel, outside legal counsel, they would not be subjected to these new rules. There's case law that says that they would be grandfathered in. We do have some guidelines on that.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to ask them to register and obtain a business license. That we can do, and that way we can track those going forward. And then if they don't operate for a year, that non-conforming status goes away.
Okay.
Zach?
Yeah.
How does this affect the property taxes of that property that's using a short-term rental?
That is a great question, and I have no clue. I am sorry, I don't know the
Sorry,
answer to that one.
I thought we discussed it, so.
I don't know if Brenda knows, but I think it's just treated just as a residential if she's coming up behind me.
Okay, so they get to
I feel
keep
like
the residential
Jaws is
exception.
showing up behind me.
Come on down,
Thanks,
Brenda.
Brenda. I just can't remember if we discussed it and what the answer was.
We haven't discussed property tax, but I think what would happen is if the owner is living in, so it's the residence, then it would get the residential exemption. If it is owned by a corporation and there is not a person who lives in there as a residence full-time, then it would be a commercial property, and that wouldn't get that residential exemption. Or if it's their second house, second houses do not get.
So
the
there's a
residential
potential then, when we ask business to register, some who may be receiving the homeowner exemption
We might be
may lose
able
it.
to get them to pay a little more property tax.
I mean, I want people to pay more, but I'm just curious how that would work.
Well, yeah, I mean, they should be paying on a commercial property as opposed to a full-time resident property.
I agree. Yeah, thank you, Brenda. Sorry, Zach, to spring that on you.
No, that's good. That's great.
I want to go back to those that are grandfathered. And now I just forgot what I was going to ask. So those who are grandfathered in, they have to abide by the code that we're setting. They can still operate, but if they are violating noise ordinances or something like that, would they lose their license, and what would be the ramifications in that situation?
Yeah, so they wouldn't be subject to the short-term rental ordinance. That's a zoning ordinance, but we do have ordinances on the books for noise control. You're not allowed to make a lot of noise from 10 to 7, I think it is. So they would be subject to that, and that would go through our normal code enforcement through our police department.
Could they lose their license in that situation?
I would assume that there is an avenue for them to lose their license at that point. I'm just not sure what that process looks like. It would go through the attorney's office on whether they're pressing charges and, kind of the severity of it.
We could put it in the ordinance, I'm assuming, if they violated and they could lose their license.
Not in this current.
No, but like
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
future.
How do we know?
No, but.
How do we know if they've been grandfathered or grandmothered, whatever?
So that's another, I hate to make it sound like this is a golden cow, if you will. But this Granicus software is going to be combing through, and they will provide us the addresses. What we're then going to do is send out a letter and say, hey, we notice you're operating. We don't have you listed here. We recommend you come in, get a business license, and register with us so that we don't have to keep sending you letters and pestering you over it. So that's how we will operate. What we'll require is that they show, so like people that are operating in December, that's how it'll work. Going forward, we'll say, we need you to prove that you have operated in the past year. Between January of 2024 to January of 2020, or the end of December 2024. And if they can show that they've utilized it in that past year, then they would automatically be grandfathered in. If not, I don't think they would meet the nonconformity.
We have a process in place then.
Yes, that's the easy answer. Yes, I have a process in place.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you remind me the fiscal note on this? What it's going to cost for the software and staff?
Yeah, so that's a great point that I didn't bring up. Right now, we're not asking for anything outside of just adopting the ordinance. I will say, as it gets going down the year, that is a potential of coming forward or in the budget season, depending on how this goes. We kind of want to take a wait and see approach, but we may come forward and ask for either additional staff or additional software support, something along those lines. Luckily, Brenda's amazing and was able to find the cash set aside for us just to buy the software.
How much is the software?
It was about $7,000
Okay.
for, I think, 3 years or something like that, or a year. I don't remember. I remember they were selling it to us, and I was like, this is going to be $50,000, and they were like, yeah, it's $7,000. I'm like, great. So we are really thankful for that. But yeah, we may be coming back depending on kind of what impact this has. We're kind of taking a wait and see.
Okay.
I have one more good question. Sure. If we add that occupant per room limit later, will everyone before it be grandfathered in?
I would anticipate they would be grandfathered, ones that are currently operating and have a permit.
Okay.
I don't expect the doors to come off the CED department January 1st with a bunch of people. I think this will take a while.
Yeah, I think we should make it a priority for next year.
Yeah.
That we look into that.
Yeah. You'll remind us, right,
Yes,
Zach?
yep, it's right here.
Got it. Hey, thank you so much for your work on this and for your staff's work. We really appreciate it. It's not been an easy task. So.
No, it's great though, and I appreciate your guys' work on it, meeting with us and talking over it. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
With that, I will entertain a motion, or do you have a comment?
I'd just like to add one more comment to this. I just want to thank all the residents who have contacted us on this issue. I think all of us have received some kind of email or phone call or multiple. We really appreciate that. It really is helpful for residents to reach out and speak to us. We love to hear your opinion and how you're coming about your solution, so it helps us understand the issues better. So thank you, Murray residents, for taking part of this.
Any other comments from council? All right, then I will entertain a motion.
All right. I will make a motion to adopt the ordinance enacting Section 17.76.190 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to residential short-term rentals and amending Sections 17.76.020 and 17.84.060 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to the determination of permitted and conditional uses.
I'll second that.
I have a motion from Councilmember Turner and a second from Councilmember Pickett. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, then Brooke, will you call the roll?
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez? I just want to say something before I give my vote. I believe our staff and collectively we found what works for us and our neighbors, but I also believe what we have decided on as a collective is too strict, and I believe with the implementation of allocation of funding for staff and the new software, we can allow permits and control short-term rentals in that way, not necessarily to have home occupancy. So if anyone and their guest violates code, we can contact the owner directly, and of course process any violations with such. And with any sale of a property, we can add a covenant to not allow corporations to buy these properties, which inflates the cost of property ownership, and also where it makes it so our low-income residents can't afford property within Murray or any parts of our state. So with that, I'm going to say nay.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
And Mr. Hawk?
Aye. So with that, the ordinance passes on a 4-1 vote. We'll now move on to the third item of our public hearings, which is to consider an ordinance amending sections 12.28030 and 12.28040 of the Murray City Municipal Code related to golf course fees. Kim Sorensen presenting.
There we go. Thank you, Council. We spoke about this a few weeks ago in Committee of the Whole, but we're asking you to amend an ordinance concerning golf course fees. Basically, the change is a change in what we charge for golfing. 9 holes will go from $18 to $20. 18 holes will go from $36 to $40. And then there's one additional fee that will be added, and that's a $15 fee for shotgun at the golf course that's included with each golfer. With that, I'll take any questions.
Did we increase it just recently last year?
It's been a few years since we've increased it, and the graph that we sent you with, along with this ordinance change a couple of weeks ago, shows where we got the fees from. And this puts our fees in line with courses similar to Murray Parkway. And when I say in line, we're about average, maybe even a little bit less than average. The increase is about 11%.
We're pretty competitive.
We're very competitive, and we're not sure what other courses will be charging this year. It may be that the other courses are going up as well. And if that happens, we'll look at it again next year.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. All right, then I'll open this up for public hearing. You know the drill. 3 minutes. Come step to the microphone, state your city and name of residence, and fill out the paperwork from Patty. All right, then I will close the public hearing portion of this meeting, and I will send it back to council for any additional comments or
I have
questions.
a question. Kim, how many shotgun tournaments do we host at the golf course? Or how many tournaments?
I'm going to answer this to the best of my memory.
That's fine.
John said we offer about 3.
Oh.
And this still gives John Pearson and his staff the ability to determine when and if shotguns are allowed.
Okay, great. Thank you. I thought for some reason it was more, but thank you.
All right,
good.
Then with that, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we consider approving an ordinance amending sections 12.28.030 and 12.28.040 of the Murray City Municipal Code related to golf course fees.
I second it.
I have a motion from Councilmember Pickett and a second from Councilmember Cotter. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Okay, Brooke, call the roll.
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
And Mr. Hawk?
Aye. All right, we'll move on to our fourth public hearing, which is to consider an ordinance annexing real property located between approximately Van Winkle Expressway to 900 East and 4800 South to the boundary of Murray City at 4840 to 4890 South. Brooke Smith is presenting.
Thank you. Let me plug in with, I believe, one of these guys. Sorry. There we go. All right. Tonight we are here to talk about an annexation request that was received. There we go. To us by the petitioner, Marv Hendrickson. Marv is in the audience with us today and is welcome to come up here and speak a little bit. I just want to go over a brief preview of what's going on. It's a public hearing regarding the annexation, and we are following Utah Code Title 10, Chapter 2, Part 4. The requirements to file a petition is to file a notice of intent, and it must be submitted to the city recorder and affected entities, including an accurate map of the proposed annexation area. We received that notice of intent on September 2023, and the affected entities were notified on or after, shortly after September 17th, 2024, with a map that was included. We did receive 2 maps of the annexation area. The map on the left was sent out to the general public when they were notified from the county or the petitioner or the city. And then the map on the right is the accurate and recordable map that will be signed if this moves forward and be filed with the Salt Lake County Recorder's Office. Notices of the notice from the county was sent out to the proposed annexation area and 300 feet surrounding. And then the petitioner did send out notices to the affected entities, which includes counties, special districts, school districts, and municipalities within a half mile. The petitioner was also required to get signatures of the real property owners within the area, and he had to comply with at least 1/3% of all property values. The total property value for this area is $37.5 million. He received, and I validated $16.5 million of that area, and the threshold that he had to meet or exceed with that 1/3 amount is 12.5. So he did exceed that signature requirement. On September 17th, the city received a final completed copy of that petition. October 15th, the council heard the annexation and moved it forward. The city recorder's office sent out a notice certifying the petition, and that was sent out on October 18th. On October 21st, the council sent out a notice of the proposed annexation area. It gave notice of the public hearing tonight, and also gave a requirement for any protests to be received on or before November 18th. We did not receive any protests from that, or any formal protest. And then a public notice for this hearing tonight was published on the Utah Public Notice website, county or city website, the Hall Bulletin Board, and it was mailed to each resident and each real owner of the properties in that area. All legal requirements for the annexation petition have been met per the Utah Code, and now I'm going to turn the time back over to the council to have a public hearing, deliberate, and make a final decision on the annexation request. Any questions?
Any questions from the council?
No. I'm glad it's almost done. I'm sure so is the applicant.
I still think we could table it.
Oh, yeah, let's table it. I'm just kidding, Brooke.
Just kidding. All right. With that, we will open this up for public hearing. Same as always, 3 minutes. Step to the microphone. What's that? Oh. Okay. First, Marv, would you like to take a few minutes? You don't have to.
I'll reserve my time until after this.
Okay, that's fair. Then we're going to open this up to public hearing. 3 minutes, come to the microphone. You have 3 minutes and state your city and name of residence, and then fill out the form from Patty.
Mark Burgess, 4921 South, 1065 East. I'm a resident of the proposed annexation area. And I just want to comment by expressing my gratitude to the City of Murray for considering to bring us into your home and be part of your great city. I couldn't think of another municipality in this county that I would rather be a part of. We've kind of faced a dilemma, as you've heard, I'm sure, many times in the past, of being a small county island and all the frustration there is with that. We opened this hearing or this meeting tonight congratulating these firefighters, and that one of the dilemmas that we face is not so much with fire and medical response, but with police response. Now that the sheriff's office is no longer with UPD, when we need a patrol officer because of a potential problem, whether it's just a suspicious person or whatever, by the time we get a canyon unit down here or from whoever where, that's a real problem for us. And Murray services 9th Street all the way down right to us, and we don't get the benefit of Murray. So we are looking forward to that, and I hope that you'll enjoy us. Thank you.
My name is Steve Aist. I'm actually a resident of Cottonwood Heights, but my business falls in that annexation of the property. And my only, I guess, comment is, and I talked with Zach a little bit about it just very briefly before, is what happens once it's annexed into Murray as far as the zoning goes. I'm happy with the zoning of how my property is, and it actually, as it looks out towards Van Winkle, I think it's watershed or wetlands. I've been told that for 30 years. I don't know if that just can be changed in the blink of an eye from all of you, or how that exactly works. I love the view that I have and the trees that cover Van Winkle. And it's a business that I have people that look out the window all day long with me. So just something to please consider as it happens, what happens there. I don't wish for a whole bunch of condos to be thrown up in front of my windows. Thank you.
Well, I guess it's time for me. I'm Marv Hendrickson. I live at 4914 Esther Circle, presently in Salt Lake County, unincorporated. You know, it's interesting, you know, I feel so good about this annexation, and I feel the vibes that you're going to approve this, that my driver's license expired last week, and I had to go get a new driver's license. So I no longer live in Salt Lake County unincorporated. My address is Murray City. So, you know, a nice part about an annexation is, you know, if you're not all that involved in your community, and that's kind of a fairly close-knit community, it's amazing how many neighbors you don't know. But having gone through this annexation process, not once, but twice, that I've got to know a good number of my neighbors, and we're a pretty friendly bunch over there. And I'd like to think that, you know, my whole reasoning was on bringing this property in, well, another one of them was, that Van Winkle is a landmark that separates the Murray from the other eastern section of the county. I can remember back 20 years ago when 9th East was the border, the easterly border of Murray City. And since then, the annexations have taken place one by one. And I think if the mobile home park comes in, then that's the last parcel that is not in Murray City along Van Winkle. So I appreciate the job that you folks are doing, and wish you all a happy holiday. And let me just say that Brooks Smith has just been absolute delight to work with. You know, I got to tell you, if any of you want to do an annexation, work with Brooks, because she knows the rules now. Because you get all of the brochures as to what you do and how you do it. Well, I got to tell you, folks, it don't work. The bureaucracy has not put that together properly. But with that, I'd like to say, vote yay. Thank you.
Any other public comment before I close this? Okay, then I will close the public comment, and I will turn it over council for any questions or follow-ups.
I just have one question. The area that the gentleman talked about in front of his business, that is, I was told a few months ago, that was owned by Salt Lake City. Is that correct? And the wetland, Phil, am I correct? That it is owned by Salt Lake City and that we don't own it and go ahead, Phil.
It's owned by Salt Lake City Utilities.
Yes.
And that is a watershed area.
Okay.
So all of that wooded area on both sides of Van Winkle right there is owned by Salt Lake City Utilities. And it's tied up in water rights and so forth. And so the chances of them ever relinquishing that and selling that for development are very, very, very small. I can't imagine that happening, especially with the situation with water that we have now.
I just wanted that comment to be addressed, that we don't have anything to do with that at all, that's Salt Lake City. Okay,
Thank you.
that's my only comment.
That was my comment too. Thank you. I'll just say lastly, Brooke, I know this has been since last year, and so thank you all, and welcome to canvassing. You should run for office, just FYI. And I'm sure you'll be in District 3, so I welcome you to apply next month for this position, now that you know all your neighbors and you've had some practice walking and meeting people. So with that said, thank you so much, both of you.
Putting it out. All right. I will entertain a motion then.
I would like to make a motion on the, gotta get the right one, ordinance annexing real property located between approximately Van Winkle Expressway to 900 East and 4800 South to the boundary of Murray City at 4840 and 4890 South.
Point of clarification, is that
Oh,
approval?
dash, sorry, 4840,
No, is that to
to
approve?
approve, yes, sorry, to
ordinance?
approve,
Okay.
yes, motion to approve, yes.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second on the
I
motion?
will second that.
I have a motion from Councilmember Cotter and a second from Councilmember Dominguez. Any debate on the motion?
None.
Okay, Brooke?
Mr. Pickett,
Aye.
Ms. Cotter,
Aye and welcome.
Ms. Dominguez,
I am welcome as well.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Hawk.
Aye. Welcome to Murray. It passes 5-0.
Merry Christmas, Mark.
And-
Merry Christmas.
And I think Brooke gets the rest of the month off. Is that what the mayor said?
At least the week. Thank you, Brenda.
All right, then we'll move into the business items portion of our meeting. We're going to start off with to consider a resolution providing advice and consent to the mayor's appointment of Chad Wilkinson as the city's Community and Economic Development Department Director. Mayor Hales.
We're almost done, guys, I promise.
I'd like to echo what everyone has said also. Brooke, you've done a great job. My goodness, so that's where Brooke, she's very detailed. And you need someone like that because we were warned, I don't know if you remember, we were warned by Jail saying, and Brooke saying, this is probably not going to pass for a while. There's little tiny errors made or little things here and there, and they really, I wish they required that on other things, but anyway, thanks, Brooke. Chad, will you come on up here? This is Chad Wilkinson. Chad had the opportunity to talk to the council members in our committee of the whole earlier today. And Chad used to work for us about, 10 years ago? About 10 years ago, and has been in the planning zoning area for, I want to say, 24 years. I don't know how that happens when he's 40, but that's pretty good. Anyway, we're really excited, and we appreciate your comments that you had today. So we're going to present Chad Wilkinson today and ask for your confirmation to be our new CED director. And this won't happen. We won't be sworn in until the first of the year. But we're asking, since this is last meeting during 2024, we're asking that you confirm Chad today, and you are welcome to ask him any questions you'd like. I know you asked him most of your questions in the committee of the whole, but so we'll present the name Chad Wilkinson to you for our CED director.
Any comments or questions from the council?
I just have a comment. I'm the only one up here that has had the opportunity to work with you, Chad, and so I was very excited when I heard that you were going to be joining us. So I just want to say welcome back.
Thank you.
And all right.
All right.
I will make the motion to adopt the resolution providing advice and consent to the mayor's appointment of Chad Wilkinson as the city's Community and Economic Development Department Director.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
I have a motion from Councilmember Turner and a second from Councilmember Cotter. Any debate on the motion? All right, Brooke, call the roll.
Mr. Pickett,
Aye.
Ms.
Welcome.
Cotter,
Welcome, aye.
Ms. Dominguez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Hawk.
Aye. welcome back.
Thanks, Sandra. Welcome for you.
Excited to work with you. We're going to now move on to our second item, which is considered a resolution approving the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the Central Valley Water Reclamation Facility, CVWRF, and the city regarding their respective ownership and maintenance responsibilities. Ben Ford, who's been waiting a very long time to present.
Yes, I have. Good evening, Council and Mayor. Appreciate you. Let me take a minute of the time tonight. So this, as discussed in Committee of the Whole, this is simply just a resolution approving an MOU that defines our ownership boundaries with Central Valley. It's pretty cut and dry. We have 2 connection points, and that's what this resolution states. Any questions that I can answer?
Any questions from the council?
No.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, thank you.
Then I will entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt a resolution approving the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the ownership and maintenance between the Central Valley Water Reclamation Facility, CVWRF, and the city regarding their respective ownership and maintenance responsibilities.
I'll second that.
I have a motion from Councilmember Dominguez and a second from Councilmember Pickett. Any debate on the motion? Okay, Brooke, call the roll.
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. The resolution passes. We'll now move on to the third item, which is to consider a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an amendment to an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City Corporation and Salt Lake County for a contribution of TRCC funds to assist in financing the restoration of the Murray Theater. Kim, welcome back.
Thank you. So this is quite simple. This is a resolution approving an amendment to our TRCC grant with Salt Lake County for the Murray Theater. It moves the completion date for the theater from December 31st this year to June 30th next year. Any questions?
Any questions from the council?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited for this. How much funding was it again?
We had
How much was
about,
the
well, it was 3.8 million and a little bit of change, so.
Right.
And then I don't know if you remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had a donation of $100,000.
We did get there was a private donation.
Anonymously, they gave us $100,000.
Oh, cool. Awesome. When is the theater going to be done again?
When is it
Just
going to be done? Ask Adam.
2027?
The deadline right now is, the completion date is April. And we're getting close.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting really close.
I know. Thank you for doing that. I will move to adopt a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an amendment to an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City Corporation and Salt Lake County for a contribution of TRCC funds to assist in financing the resolution of Murray Theater.
I second it.
I have a motion from Councilmember Dominguez and a second from Councilmember Cotter. Any debate on the motion? All right, Brooke, call the roll.
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. And it passes. We'll now move on to the fourth item, which is to consider a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an amendment to an interlocal cooperation agreement between Murray City Corporation and Salt Lake County for a contribution of TRCC funds to assist funding construction of Riverview Park improvements. Kim.
Thank you. So this mirrors what we just talked about, with the exception of it's for Riverview Park. We had a $400,000 TRCC grant from Salt Lake County for the park. This moves the deadline of completion from September 30th to December 31st of this year. This allows us to collect the remaining $40,000 that's left on the TRCC grant that was spent in October.
Any questions or comments?
No.
I'm just very, very excited. It's very nice, and the residents that are coming over to play pickleball are enjoying that area, and the playground is phenomenal. Thank you so much, and thank you, Salt Lake County, for the money. We really appreciate that.
Thank you. Without the council and mayor's support, it wouldn't have happened, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, both parks look great.
And I'll take a motion.
I would like to make the motion because it's my area and I'm so excited. I move the approval of the resolution approving and authorizing execution of an amendment to an interlocal corporation agreement between Murray City Corporation and Salt Lake County for a contribution of TRCC funds to assist funding construction of Riverview Park improvements.
Got a motion. Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second.
We've got a motion from Councilmember Cotter and a second from Councilmember Turner. Any debate on the motion? Okay, Brooke.
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. Okay.
Adam, can I just compliment, those parks look wonderful. And Kim and your department, you've done amazing, and Pam's let us know that they love the pickleball courts down there, and Diane has an area up in her area that we've redone. I can't remember the name of that park.
Riverview? Oh, by Diane's?
Yeah.
Diane's Park. Your park is being done
Woodstock?
also.
No,
No,
that's one of my,
it's
I
in
can't,
your-
I don't know, Kim, what's the name of the park?
Woodstock.
Woodstock, thank you, my goodness, I could not think of that, but that's an area that, honestly, that's a beautiful park also in what they're doing, so I just want to give a big shout out to the Parks and Rec for all they've done, so thank you.
And I even enjoy the lights. Very, very bright. Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, we will move on to the fifth item, which is to consider resolution authorizing and approving the Power County Power Project power sales contract with Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems. And related
Yay.
matters. That's a mouthful. Greg Ballon is presenting.
How are you? Council, Mayor, appreciate being with you tonight. I've just got a few slides we'll throw up here. So as Matt and I presented in the Committee of the Whole, we talked about, can I talk about both plants and you can take them as they come? That works. So we're here today to just kind of review the resolution for authorizing and approving the following power sales contracts. Power County Power Sales Contract and Millard County Power Sales Contract. And so there's two different plants. There's a peaker plant that is a 200 megawatt facility. Commercial operation date is 2029, and that's gas-fired reciprocating engines. The base load is a 360 megawatt plant, and a commercial operation date of about 2031, and that's combined cycle with a gas turbine and steam turbine generation. So, and one's up in Pocatello, one's in Millard County, Utah. So, sorry, I'll try and talk into the mic. So just a real quick, the peaking facility is located in Millard County. Like I said, 200 megawatts. Nice thing about the peaking facility is it's able to ramp up really quickly, and which for the fast ramp up times, it enables an integration of additional clean, less expensive renewable energy. So just remember that it's something that will help us in the future as we look at different mixes for our energy. And then they're capable of burning hydrogen in the future. So that's a plus. The combined cycle facilities in Power County, Idaho, 360 megawatts. Once again, this one does not ramp up. This is base load. And we're looking at 20 megawatts in this plant and 11 megawatts in the peaking plant. And so both these plants, when they were looking at a place to locate them, they looked at transmission lines and natural gas as where's the best place to put those, and that's how they chose Idaho. Do you have any questions for me? We appreciate the dialogue that we've had on this. Really, I appreciate your thoughtful questions, your concerns. I think you can't get to this point without having some good feedback back and forth. And so I realize this maybe not the perfect resource, but for now it's the best it's the best available that's out there right now. And like I said, we have a commitment to keep looking for new and renewable resources that we can add to this mix. So Power Department staff recommend that City Council approve the proposed resolution authorizing and approving the power sales contracts for the Power County and Miller County gas plants.
Do you have any comments?
Yes. I have a question for you. How
Yes.
many cities have already participated? Because we need about 85% of the UMs group to participate,
I
correct?
believe, yes. So there's one other city that's getting approval tonight.
Okay.
They're farther north than us. And everybody else has already taken it to their councils, and every city in UAMPS, every Utah city in UAMPS is participating in this in
Oh,
one way or
wow.
another.
How many cities do we have within UMs?
I want to say 20.
26?
Is it
I was going to
26?
say 26, yeah.
Might be 26.
Okay.
Don't quote me, but
So,
actually, the mayor has that one nailed. Is it 26? Yeah, 26. I like that.
and this will now then go to Pacific Corps board, correct?
Yeah, well, it goes to so they have to do a study, so it goes into a
study,
cluster study, and once that study's done, they look at it, they look how it impacts their system and what might be needed to put that onto their system. But yes, it now goes to Pacific Corp for a cluster study.
And how long is the project length? What's the length of this project by the time it goes online?
So you'd probably at least 30 years.
Okay.
That's 30 to 40 to 50 years probably. I mean, it just depends on how well it's maintained, and it's something that's going to set Murray up for many years
Kids.
into the future.
Yeah.
Way
All right.
past my time here.
Thank
So-
you. I just wanted to kind of paint that picture. 'cause
Yeah, and
There's
that's-
decisions we're making now for the future.
Exactly, and it's been done in the past as we've talked, and so yeah, you're setting up Murray to be resource adequate for many years into the future. So
I'll be 100 years old. Holy moly.
Let's make sure that happens. Well, thank you so much. I think you've answered a lot of my questions about this project, and it's exciting to see what else is coming into our portfolio. So thank you.
like I said, I appreciate it.
And I-
I appreciate the council.
Yep, and also
his
your
office.
expertise. I thank you for all the phone calls that you took for me and your knowledge and Matt's knowledge and everyone that works in the power department. Thank you for
We're
everything.
definitely a team on
And I
this.
thank the citizens that came and talked and supported this also. I really appreciate citizens coming in and talking about something that's going to be viable for us in the future.
Thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate that. Oh, yes.
You knew you
I was going to
couldn't
sneak
get out
down and
without
sit
me.
down.
As you know, this was not an easy decision for me, and we talked about it.
I do know that.
Probably you think ad nauseum, but
No, there's no such thing. I mean, we want to make sure you're comfortable with what you're doing tonight.
right. And this is a fossil fuel, which I have
It
a hard
is.
time with.
I know that.
So talk about the hydrogen transfer possibly.
So it has the ability to, so hydrogen is a clean gas makes it more renewable. So it's set up to take up nitrogen. I don't know at what point they will look into that. Hydrogen's still being developed. And so, but they are going to be able to burn hydrogen. I don't know at what point or when that will happen, but just the fact that they have that ability is good. That's a plus.
That's a plus for me. I mean,
Yes.
that's one of the things that I was happy to consider. Also, would you talk a little bit about the renewables in our portfolio?
Yes, thank you. So right now, I love our portfolio mix. So about 20% of our mix is CRSP, which is hydro, Colorado River Storage Project. And that is, I'm thankful that someone made that decision back in the day to get into that, because it was one of those decisions that was made that maybe wasn't popular at the time, but wow, what a resource that is for us now. We've got 7.5 megawatts of landfill methane gas, which is amazing. Another one of those things that prior director went out on a limb and decided it was presented to UAMPS, and nobody at UAMPS wanted to take it, so Gary Merrill went out in the hall and said, we want to look at this, and I'm grateful he did, because it has set us up with a very nice renewable resource that, it's like at a 90+% capacity factor, which for renewables is amazing.
Yeah,
And
I would have
that's-
thought capturing methane. would
Yeah,
be
so they
pretty-
take the methane gas off of the landfills and generate electricity with that. Instead of flaring it up into the air, into the atmosphere, they're burning it and generating electricity.
And we're one of the only cities in the West that does that. Is that
We're one of the
correct?
few, yeah.
Yeah, one of the few.
And definitely in Utah.
Mhm.
So that's a feather in our cap. I love that. We've got 5 megawatts of Red Mesa Solar, which I think is amazing. That's a wonderful plant down there. We got
Hopefully
5
getting
megawatts of
more.
our little, sorry.
We're expanding on Red Mesa, right?
They're looking into that, yes.
Okay.
And we will be we get to be one of the first to apply for that when it happens.
Yes.
5 megawatts of Little Cottonwood Hydro. And then we're looking into wind, we're looking into geothermal, and we're looking into more solar with battery backup. So I think UAMPS is doing an excellent job of getting us in resources that will make us better and, into the future will help the environment.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I think our citizens do as well.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you also, Greg. We went a lot of rounds on this one. But thank you for your time and your effort on this. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's good. And I think it's going to be good for us in the future.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you all.
Adam, can I make a comment?
No.
No.
Just kidding.
I think what really hit me is when I was in the meeting with Diane and Adam with UAMPS, with you, and I was shocked when they brought up geothermal, that it was, I think they said 150 a meg. It was a lot. All I know, it was a lot. And our concern was not to raise prices on the citizens. That did it for me. I mean, I already felt that way, but when Diane, I think it was Diane that asked that question, and I think it was Matt from UAMPS that answered the question. And when he said 150, I thought, well, that'd kill us, I don't think we're ready. They obviously agree with you also that that's not the time for that. But that was a discussion we had, and I didn't really know much about that until we started talking in UAMPS, with UAMPS, and it kind of floored me to think it was almost triple than what we're paying.
It's a little bit of an expensive resource, but it's the costs are coming down, and as they're able to, the methods are getting better as well. So I think that'll be a viable resource going forward, hopefully. So, and the price should come down.
The base load cost is really good. Like, that's going to be a good resource going forward.
Yes, yep, exactly.
Yeah.
As long as we balance it out.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions from the council?
No.
Thank you.
All right, so I will take a motion on item number 5.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing and approving the Power County Power Project Power Sales contract with Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems. I've never said that out loud. And related matters.
I second the motion.
I have a motion from Councilmember Dominguez and a second from Councilmember Pickett. Do I have a debate on the motion?
No.
Okay, then we'll call the roll. Brooke?
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. Resolution passes. I will now consider a motion on item number 6.
I move to approve a resolution authorizing and approving the Millard County Power Project Power Sales contract with Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems and related matters.
I second it.
I have a motion from Councilmember Dominguez and a second from Councilmember Cotter. Any debate on the motion?
No.
Okay, Brooke?
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez?
Aye.
Ms. Turner?
Aye.
Mr. Hawk?
Aye. It passes.
Awesome.
This is, I will say, Councilmember Dominguez's final council meeting.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything or give a?
Yeah. I wrote my last newsletter and I immediately cried and texted Matt and was like, this is weird. But I'm really excited to be able to continue to represent Murray and include Taylorsville and Mill Creek. This session, from what I understand, is going to be a really hard one, especially for people of color. So I'm really excited for our freshman 5 who are coming in and really just motivated to see what we can do and continue to make Utah our home state. Some of the things I've learned while being on the council is collectively we do have a really dynamic power as a council. We are the legislative body, and there's so many great things and opportunities we can create and resources for the city, and not just with power generation, but for all citizens. I think, my constituent from Fairborn, there's so many things. I think about her all the time, and I think about that community, and I think about Fire Clay, even though it's not in my district, but now will be an area that I do represent. And I think about so many of the opportunities and how I was raised, and watching both my parents are here, and just watching their struggles, and watching just being a latchkey kid and knowing that there is a community out there that embraced me and loved me, and I want to continue that in everything that I do. So thank you all. So it's going to be so bittersweet, but I'll be here. I'll be sitting on that side next to Greg and everybody else. So I'll still be in the community, and there's so many things that I can say that I wanted to say. Sorry. But it's been such a true honor to represent. It's been a true honor to make friends in this community and to continue those friendships, even my frenemies and those who don't support me. But just know no matter what, I will still be here and represent Murray very proudly. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Mayor, it's your report.
Well, I'm glad you did that, because I was going to say, I'm going to give some of my time to Rosalba, but apparently she didn't do that. Anyway, we as administration, we congratulate you on your win. And from an administration side, I'll tell you, you've been great to work with. We appreciate it. You do your studying, you look into things, and you're always honest. And that's appreciated. No, you really, and you're not, and some people can be honest in a mean way, and you've never done that. So thank you. We appreciate that, and we wish you good luck on the Hill. And we will be involved with you quite. We'll probably be calling you more than you're calling us. But anyway, thank you. Also, Chief Burnett, I just wanted to thank you for how quick you handled the homicide that we had this last couple of weeks, and on a quick arrest, and your due diligence. You guys followed up, and it was one of the quickest ones I've ever seen. So please tell your people thank you. And we thank you for being a leader here in Murray. So, also, we've got coming up, hey, we have lights. Has anybody noticed our Christmas lights out there? The music, of course, I told them yesterday, it's a little low, because Pam had called and said, that is so low. So, of course, for the meeting, I have them turn it up, and it's boom, boom, like a beatbox going the whole night. But anyway, Jennifer, you were moving to the beat pretty good, so. Anyway, we're really grateful for all our employees and all they've done to get that ready. And in preparation for what's coming up Saturday at 6 p.m. will be our tree lighting. And we'll have Santa Claus here. And last year we had tons of people show up, and I have a feeling it's going to be more this year, because KSL got a hold of and put it on their website. And it was the #1 attraction as far as tree lighting with cities last year. So we're expecting another one. So that's this Saturday here outside at 6 p.m. and Santa Claus will be here. Hot chocolate provided by our Murray Youth, and Pam and Sherry Van Bibber will be participating in that. And so anyway, we're looking forward to having all of you here. We're also going to have Santa Claus coming 2 more times, the 12th of December at 6:30. That's a Thursday. So following Saturday, the next 2 Thursdays, we'll have Santa Claus here, and that'll be the 12th of December and the 19th, and that'll be at 6:30 to 8 for an hour and a half. So that'll be going on, and I think that's it. I wanted to thank you, though, for the investment that you had put into the power department, because it was probably one of the longest discussions we've had regarding resources. And I'll tell you what, when we do that, for me, I learned quite a bit. I learned a lot more than thought I knew, not a lot, but I thought I knew some. I learned a lot more with that, so thank you for being involved. And we're lucky. We're lucky, as Rosalba said earlier, we're a lucky, blessed city when we have a council. We may not always agree all the time with the administration, but we always get along, and I consider you friends, so thank you. And this is our last meeting before Christmas, so happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year, because we won't be here till, what, January 7th? Wow, that's a month. Goodness, you guys. We'll still see you, huh?
And as the sign says, have a
Merry Christmas. That's Pam.
Exactly.
She made
And
us do
thank
that.
you for
so.
that.
Anyway, thank you.
Happy holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays.
Mayor.
All right.
And
With
happy
that,
holidays to
we
everyone.
are adjourned.
All right.